What's going on, friends and family? My name is Skylent, and today we have an amazing video, an awesome, enthusiastic video spitting out, talking about my reactions, my first impressions, my pre-impressions, really, of the game. Last Oasis. The Last Oasis. This game is blowing my brains. I remember I was actually sitting in the hotel lobby, Irvine, California. We were out there, a bunch of YouTubers checking out Amazon's New World, and then we got this trailer I just pulled up on my phone, and I was like, holy crap! I mean, you guys are seeing it right now, right? Holy moly! Yo, Lazy Peon, check out this. Look at this. It's got freaking like walking bases. What the steampunk? Holy hype! What is this? And everyone's like, yeah, dude, this looks pretty crazy. This looks pretty cool. It does absolutely. The first impressions, it leaves an impression. It's quite a ridiculous concept that, you know, it's actually always been a fantasy. You know, look at from like Howl's Moving Castle, we have the Mortal Engines series, which the movie is, but I'm just saying, like, this idea of steampunk or steampunk light, I don't know, type of like walking mechs, these walking, just very ridiculous, very punk machine machination designs. Oh man, it's such a sex fantasy. I can't wait to actually jump into it. But there's always some dubiousnesses going on with these kind of videos. These are hype videos. These are why I'm too excited videos, but I still need to dive in myself, so it's still a reaction video, but in that, I'm gonna also kind of pepper in a little bit of criticism, okay? So don't worry, guys, don't worry, I'm still Skylent, okay? I'm still gonna bite and chew into the game, absolutely, but let's try to keep the hype alive here. So, Last Oasis. You guys saw the trailer, you see the the general gameplay, and I think without a doubt that looks exciting. But let's see what they have planned for the game. Let's see what they want to do with the game and how that could go awry, but also like if I do even like it, you know, if that's something to get excited about. So, guys, let me know in the comments below what you think about Last Oasis, but let's go ahead and jump in to the Steam page. Alright, so I'm going to be reading off of this, and I'm going to be checking this out and just kind of reiterating some information that I've been looking up. But basically, what you guys should know about this title is that at its core, it's a hardcore survival type of MMO. I don't know how MMO it's going to be. A lot of games say MMO, and then they turn into MMO lights or whatever. But in the end, I actually don't care. I don't care at this point, though I do hope they truly achieve an MMO space, which is what they're aiming for. But anyways, it's going to be a survival MMO, which is similar to New World and a couple of other crowdfunded, I want to say, MMOs coming out. So this is kind of cool. I guess you have Rust that can get to an MMO stage. Hytale, actually, even to an extent, debatably. So we have a couple on the horizon, but this one is the one that looks like the most ridiculous. So this one's it's definitely catching my eye, and it should catch your eyes, but let's go into the little details of that. Like, you know, what is the survival exactly? What are we going to do in this world? Is it focused more on PvE or PvP, etc.? I'm pretty sure it's just going to be a PvP type of game where players are building these bigger walking bases, and they're going to be fighting and conquesting against each other, which is going to be kind of reminiscent of what you see actually in Atlas, where players' guilds are building ships and warring against each other, as well as Worlds Adrift, where you have these airships warring against each other. And I think that's a similar concept. So yeah, a lot of games actually at a macro level very similar to this, but no game on the planet looks just like this at the micro scale. So let's get our microscope out and let's go ahead and dive deeper into this. By the way, guys, there is a little bit of drama here. The developer is Donkey Crew, but apparently some or most of these developers worked on a game called Of Kings and Men, which actually got pulled from Steam and was canceled. So before we just hype the crap out of this game, do know that there's going to be some drama, and I'm sure some keyboard warriors already leave it in the comments below about that. But yeah, you know, however you feel about that, let me know, because I'm still on the fence as well. But regardless, I'm just gonna look at what this game has to offer and gush about it, if that's fine. Okay, so let's move on. I do know that this is gonna be launching as an early access game, so I'm assuming pretty soon here. And the early access is gonna launch, you know, about a year or even 2 years, which is very general, very like that's the usual. So nothing wrong with that. The game is gonna focus on a global player-driven economy, which most of these games do. I do like that they say that first though, and it's gonna have this focus on the vehicle combat system. And that's gonna tie into the lore as well, because apparently like the world stopped rotating, or it only spins very slowly, and that's like the concept is that humanity needed to become nomadic because the sun scorches the planet as it slowly turns. So in order to survive, you know, everyone has to move around, which is how all this to happen. You know, it's post-apocalyptic kind of. So yeah, anyways, they say they're going to have complex combat, war mechanics, all that to an MMO true scale in the early access. And everything in the about section, which we're going to be reading here, all these details are going to be in the early access. And then from there, post early access, or as the game evolves, they're going to have a certain price. I'm going to assume like 20 bucks or 15 bucks, which I think would be very fair and make the game very popular at that price range. And then as the game actually gets new features, they're going to increase the price, which again is not something uncommon. You know, games like Minecraft really pioneered that. So that's what we have to expect. And assuming the same issues with Of Kings and Men and every game in this genre, it's probably going to have, lag, bugs, glitches. It's probably going to be a very uncomfortable game and very uncomfortable to progress through. But I think with the gimmick, the way this game is just shouting out to me, the way it looks, it's such a spectacle. I think that this game could go viral. So that's why I'm jumping on the hype train, baby. Let's go. So, all right. Now they do have a little bit of it. They have some announcements you can actually check out on the Steam page. I don't think they have really even an official website right now, and the Discord is very light. But I'm going to give you links to all the information in the comments below if you want to join the Discord. If you actually want to join the subreddit, I actually made a fan subreddit /r/LastOasis that I'm going to be moderating. So if you guys want to jump into that and support me as a moderator, or really talk about the game, don't worry, I'm not going to clean out negative comments or anything like that. It's going to be a proper fan run Discord or subreddit. I mean, and I think we're gonna have a lot of fun with that. So go ahead, click those links, and let's go ahead and shit the chat, right? So anyways, guys, about this game, Last Oasis this is how they're describing it, a nomadic survival MMO. And that's a really big point right there. A lot of survival games, MMO or not, it's really about finding just a place to live and hunkering down and maybe kind of spiraling out for materials, sometimes going on expeditions or dungeon dives, but for the most part, it's not nomadic, which is very strange because a lot of survival games take place in a time period or really just survival period. It really should be nomadic. It really should be a nomadic experience, especially since so many times it's like you're a brand new character in a brand new island or a brand new world. What the crap? So we just hunker down on one little plot of land and that's it. And a lot of games that I've been playing have had that. However, we are, like I said, with some recent games like Atlas and then Worlds Adrift, we are seeing more of a nomadic style gameplay, and this is one of those that's taking that concept on, and I love that they just strictly say it right there, boom, about this game, nomadic survival MMO. Earth has stopped rotating, and the last human survivors need to outrun the scorching sun in a massive open world. So, outrun the sun, let's go. I freaking love that. Is that a band name? Because that should be a band name. It's sick. Okay, so I guess I'm assuming that the world turns just a little bit, or it's because the world is actually rotating around this. Oh yeah, that's okay. Never mind. Oh my god, astronomy. Yeah, okay. Anyways, I took 4th grade. So walkers. You're gonna see this in mainly the thing that's making you wow, right? Other than freaking grappling hooks, we do have the walkers. There's going to be these steampunky or steampunk light type of vehicles where basically instead of wheels we have walkers. I mean it's just so punk, right? It almost doesn't make sense, but it's so we can, I guess, traverse around the very harsh terrain. It also looks freaking cool, and I actually see in some gameplay the different components to these machines, these walkers of all different types and sizes. I'm sure they're going to get massive and bigger as the game goes on, but you can see you can actually destroy different parts, different sections, and literally cut off the legs of some of these walkers and topple down these colossal machines, which I am too excited for. So you're going to traverse the world on wooden, wind-powered walking machines. So that's what those sails are for, other than looking freaking amazing. It's all mechanics. So it's not technically steampunk. What would you guys actually call this? I mean, aesthetically, I'm sure you type in steampunk, you're going to find stuff like this, but I guess you would call it windpunk. I mean, like Final Fantasy IX is mist punk, technically, because it doesn't use steam, it uses mist. So some people are really strict with that definition. I don't know, there's diesel punk from the Scythe universe. So, I understand, guys, don't hate me. I understand that there's all these different terminologies for these aesthetics, but if you just type in steampunk, you totally can find stuff like this. Anyways, so I guess it's wood punk or wind punk, whatever. Anyways. So they're wind powered, so they're all mechanical based levers and things like that. So as you move through the world, these fans, or I guess these sails, these sails are actually moved by the wind. That moves all the machinery, I guess, from these walkers. So the walkers can be adapted for travel, transportation, harvesting, combat. Oh man, I didn't even think about that actually. We're going to have like, you know, farming, and we're going to have all these life skills. Are we actually going to get these different vehicles to help us with the life skilling? Because that's going to be amazing. You know, so many MMO, it's like, okay, you go out there yourself and you have the, you know, the hoe, and you plow the field or whatever. You get a fishing rod and you fish, but it would be so freaking sick if in most things that we do in this game actually is facilitated by a vehicle. You know, we have a harvesting vehicle, we have a fishing vehicle that goes through a river, and you know, you run up and down the river and it collects the fish with like little pincer arms or something. You know, something really grotesque and punk like that would be amazing, and it would definitely change up the gameplay from your normal avatar state game. You know, you're playing as the human and then actually, you know, piloting a vehicle. And so often in these games, the piloting of the vehicle is just the combat. So if we can get that into life skilling, and there could be some unique crafting, you know, some unique strategy with how we build these different harvesting, I think that'd be really good for crafters, because crafters so often, you're just mules. You're just doing chores. There's no creativity with it. There's no real efficiency. And I think with vehicles, you're adding a layer that is desperately needed in the MMO space. So yes, and of course you can use them as mobile bases. That's the real hype factor there with the game. So a multitude of structures, attachments, and upgrades allow players to personalize walkers to their needs. I like that. I don't know. I doubt it's going to be a block by block customization like we have in Worlds Adrift, and I'm actually totally fine with that. For the most part, it's not quite needed, I think. But as long as the customization really is there, that changes the gameplay, then that's all I need. I just want that player expression. Now, the scorching sun, guys. This is something that's maybe a little bit important. So the sun burns the land in the west. It turns it into dust. In order to stay ahead of the obliterating sun, nomads must explore new territories that slowly emerge on the eastern horizon from the side of the earth that has long been frozen in impenetrable ice. Now, what that exactly means is obviously a setup for the lore and the story, but I don't know if the game world will actually change. Like, this is kind of my idea, so I doubt it's going to be in real time, or I don't think it's going to be like a day-night cycle, because that just wouldn't make sense. But if they can do this, this is something I suggested for many games, and you actually see this in Fortnite. But basically, just every season or so, just change the map. It could even be subtle. Just change the map, kind of retune it, refine it, and that would make sense actually for this game, since everyone is supposed to be nomadic. And then that would force people to kind of realign where they want to live, realign their goals, you know, really just kind of change how they play, because the meta is changing, because the map is changing. So maybe every season, just kind of tick over maybe a new map design, and then boom, pow, ka-chow, there you go. That's all you need. You don't need to have any crazy systems or anything like that. If it is in there, fine. You know, if there's a literal globe and it's actually slowly turning over a year, okay, sure, but I doubt it. So if they can just change the map and have like, you know, meta events, things like that, weather events, things that change up the gameplay, this is the game to do it. And I think it would just work flawlessly, really. I mean, you see how meta keeps communities engaged. You know, these sort of outside events, like you see with Fortnite, really the biggest example. Shining, brimming, shimmering. Yeah, that's the one. Let's do that, please and thank you. All right, so we got the lore. It is going to be a PvP-focused game, so I don't know how much this is really going to slap us in the face with it in the game, but regardless, let's go ahead and read this out. So, after a cataclysmic event halted the Earth's rotation, the planet was split into two extreme and very deadly environments. Only a narrow band of space, which is going to be the playable space that we actually participate in, between the hot and the cold halves of the planet, has conditions that can support life. This band moves at the pace of the planet's rotation around the sun, which we speculated earlier, and all life on Earth must migrate with it to survive. And in order to keep moving, the remnants of humanity have built nomadic machines, which you saw, but also a walking city called Flotilla, or Flotilla. Flotilla, I don't know. Anyways, so every day, Flotilla transports more nomads into the passing Oasis, where warring clans fight tooth and nail for the control of territory and valuable resources. Some nomads have actually carved out lucrative positions for themselves and even gained status with Flotilla. However, most nomads are locked in a daily struggle for survival, forced to battle both nature and those around them. There will never be rest for the men who built the walkers. They can only move forward. That is so freaking cool. So survive and thrive, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be the name of the game. You got to find ways to survive. You got to gather the resources. You got to craft the equipment. You build your walker. You know, the usual stuff minus, you know, the freaking walkers. You improve your skills, RPG style, probably Arc style, yeah, etc. Learn to exploit what remains of the world Keep your nomad alive for as long as you can. As you become stronger, the longer you escape death. Whoa, wait, hold up. That sounds like a life cycle system, something that's been hinted at in Chronicles of Illyria. I believe Ashes of Creation might be trying to do something similar as well. This is kind of cool. Okay, so I'm assuming that, there's actually a hub town that's going to be constantly spitting out new players, obviously. It's probably a neutral zone that you can come back to, maybe. But it looks like your character actually is going to die over and over. So maybe the world has some sort of pseudo-persistence, but your character, you might debatably be playing it almost like a roguelike, which could be amazing. I haven't played a rogue-light MMO since Realm of the Mad God, really, and Survived By. So those two games, totally very different games, pixel art top down, but this is cool. And I know a lot of people were excited about that system in Chronicles of Illyria, but yeah, let me know your thoughts and feelings on that system. Okay. All right, guys. Yeah, but there's a player-driven economy, which with the twist of actually having lives, that could be kind of, that could change some things on how people play this MMO, especially being a trader. How risk, how reward is that? Any game that increases risk in an open world hardcore sandbox MMO. Oh my God, yeah, throw me in, man. So, trade networks stretch between the known oases. I wonder what that means. Is there different zones? The global player-driven economy is based on real supply and demand. So, no BDO. Smart and quick traders can make huge profits, but running trade routes always comes with a risk. Yeah, other nomads may opt to produce or hunt down rare and highly localized resources. It's always wise to consider potential competitors first, though. Challenge another clan's monopoly, and you may become their next target. So this is basically going to be just like any other sandbox MMO, from Albion to Eve. There's certain resources, especially very rare resources, in different parts of the world, and clans can kind of own those territories or more frequent them. And you as a player need to be aware of that. So is your clan going to specialize in one area, or going to try to kind of spread out and get the lower tier resources, but all rounded overall resource system? Like, what is your strategy as a guild, as a clan, as a company? And you as a player, what are you going to do? You have to risk reward, where you're going to go, and how you're going to take those resources or control them. So yeah, just kind of the usual there. But with the nomadic machines and the way the world is set up, that's really going to throw in the twist, because normally people just hunker down and that's it. And it's not very frequent that people actually contest those things. But with the nomadicy of this game, it could actually, keep the hype alive. You know what I'm saying? So travel and explore an MMO-sized world. Let's talk about the world. The world consists of many interconnected oases. Okay, I'm starting to kind of get that concept here. Forming a large open world. So it is a large open world, but I'm assuming it's supposed to be a band around the world, so maybe something very vertical or horizontal. Potentially, 1,000 oases exist simultaneously. The number automatically adjusts to accommodate the size of the player base. That's actually really cool if that technology works. Each oasis is over 100 kilometers squared, so I'm assuming basically that they say open world, but I'm assuming it's really kind of like Albion Online, how it's an open world, but it's connected via instancing or loading somehow. I don't know how they're doing this. Explore them to reveal new and unique biomes while plundering their limited resources. Some nomads may pit stop to refill their water, others will settle for some time, but ultimately everyone will pick up and voyage east to escape the encroaching sun. Okay, so that's the system that they're going to be using. It's not just one literal open world map. There are essentially islands, but they're not really islands. They're oases, if you understand what I'm saying. All right, but we got a tab called No Man's Land, and I'm assuming this is going to be the ultra hardcore, like lawless zone. It's basically like RuneScape's Wilderness or something like that. Albion's Black Zones. If you played some sandbox games, you know what I'm talking about. No Man's Land is the open desert that sits between the last livable oases on Earth. So yeah, it's going to be kind of harsh. Use it to quickly travel between adjacent oases, provided you bring enough water on your walker. You can safely log off here. The endless dunes allow you to hide your walker and mobile base. If you want to go to sleep or just catch up, whoa, hold up a second. So does our I didn't even think about that. So what we build in the game lasts. Like, we build it and it sits there, and when we log out, is our character is going to stay in game as well. We've seen this in a few games for sure. Atlas, the newest one. Okay, so that's important. So not only are we moving through the world to actually play the game, but we also need to worry about our safety, our progression. Oh my god, and especially if our character can permanently die. Holy artichoke. Okay, this is going to be something interesting. The risk and reward is making me kind of excited. Okay, anyways, my brain is going all over the place, and I'm sure yours is as well. But let's continue. Melee and walker combat. We need to talk about some PvP. We need to talk about the combat. How's this going to work? Now, the footage that we can see is very light. It's from a third-party perspective, so we can't actually see the mechanics. We don't know how in-depth it is, but I have to say that, from a distance, it actually looks it looks fine enough. It looks fine. Dynamic skill-based directional melee combat. So if you played Chivalry, there's a new game called Howl that's going to be kind of similar. Pick your weapon from a range of one-handed to two-handed swords, maces, axes, or quarterstaves. It seems like it's going to be rather primitive here, nothing too unique. I'm really hoping that with the kind of punk nature of the game, that we do get some more unique weapons. So really more of a focus on gladiator style, the more gimmicky weapons, things like that. I want those style weapons, but I guess it's totally fine if we just have some general, very primitive and very basic weapons to go in. Those, I don't know. Our sword's really a primitive weapon, but anyways, yeah, I agree. Maces, axes, quarterstaves. Hopefully we get more toolages on, chain scythes, things like that, or just chains. I feel like chains would really fit in this kind of game. The ability to use grappling hooks in one-on-one combat, actually grappling hook another player. That's always fun in games that let you do that. I don't know. That'd be really great. So right now it shows basic weapons. I'm going to say that's a detriment. I really want more punk weapons. So look at gladiator weapons, look at Native American style weapons and African weapons. Let's use those style weapons. Let's get those into the game. And I think this game would, oh my god, the combat would be obviously unique because you're using obviously weapons that nobody else talks about. Okay, if you prefer to hammer your opponents from a distance, you can choose to fight with a wide range of onboard weapons. So we do have that. So we got ballistas, we have scatter shotguns, repeaters, catapults. I do appreciate that. So specialize in one or become a more versatile fighter by trying to master them all. So we are going to have RPG mechanics. I think very likely with that, I'm hoping that the RPG mechanics are less passive buffs where it's like, oh, you do 10% more damage with a sword. I don't want that. I'd rather go for the Albion route, where as you use swords and as you get higher tier weapons, then you actually get entirely new movesets. So like the highest level rapier, you're going to have a counter ability, you'll have like some spinny moves, you'll actually be a really good duelist, not that you just do actual like more damage. I think that'd be, it just kind of make more sense in terms of an RPG. So the solo experience here, this is actually a really big contention for all of these kind of games. Every single one of these games, the solo experience is really more of an alone experience. I don't believe playing solo means playing alone, but too often in these games, it's too segregated and it's too lonely. So let's see what they have to say about the solo experience. Now they say on the Steam page that individuals and small groups of players are the backbone of Last Oasis, which in my opinion makes a lot of sense because it seems like it's focused on guerrilla warfare and it's obviously focused on nomadic gameplay. So trading, hunting, and harvesting allows anyone to acquire better equipment or sell goods for profit for those who prefer a more high-risk, high-reward lifestyle, which is me. Piracy is always an option, but beware of payback, obviously. Okay, so it's really quick and clean. I do like that they say it's the backbone of Last Oasis. Normally, games will say, guilds, guilds and these empires, these kingdoms, that's the backbone, that's the real game. But I do like that they say that this is the backbone. And to me, it just makes sense because it is a nomadic game. So clans and warfare, this is going to be the big excite and the hype, right? Become a political and economic power. See, if you guys have never played a game like this, really what makes these kind of games special, it's not going to be the combat, and it's not even like the crazy vehicles and things like that, or the world traversal, There's lots of games that do these things better, but what no game or no genre can do and compete with is going to be the actual politics. The actual social, the persistence within that. And I was just actually talking, to New World developers about this, and they elaborated on that and really enlightened me on that aspect because they're EVE players. If you play EVE or Albion, and you're part of these big guilds, that's an experience that you're not going to get in something like Chivalry. You're not going to get that experience in, well, maybe actually somewhat to a lesser extent in games like Ark, but for the most part, big MMOs is where you have this political epicosity, right? So awesome. So we're going to control a region and get rewarded with a supply of local resources. So yeah, I guess you control a region, you get more loot and stuff. Neat. Gathered there by roaming nomads. Oh, so basically it's like a tax system. Yeah, that's pretty familiar. Grow your clan and make alliances to maximize and protect your income, as usual. Always be ready for conflicts. Sure, hostile clans would challenge your control and come to take away everything you build. So they don't actually detail any of their systems, how that's going to work, if it's going to be a timed war system, if it's just an always-on system. I'm assuming it's always on, because this seems like a pretty hardcore kind of game. So but it doesn't say. So let me know your thoughts and feelings. What kind of war system do you like? Do you like it when somebody has to declare war and it's only on for a certain amount of time? Do you like, in Albion, do you like it when players actually they go into an instance and it's like a esport kind of event? Or do you just like it full on, always on, people can conquest and take what you want and destroy your main base and take your territory at any moment in time? Me personally, I actually really like that. I think that's really cool. If I'm going to play a hardcore MMO, I want to go hard, right? So... All right, the very last point, and I love it's own separate freaking point, is grappling hooks. So anyways, this was a big point for why I was in love with Worlds Adrift, another game that's actually very similar to this. Worlds Adrift is basically this in ways, not quite an MMO, it's an MMO light, that's true, but it is steampunk and such, and it's airships. So we do have a grappling hook in this game, which makes just so much sense, okay? So we're gonna be flying around like Attack on Titan, but, fighting these giant machines and these players that are zipping and zooming and zapping all over the place. So master the vertical movement. Every nomad owns a grappling hook, the most essential and iconic tool of those who drive walkers. Adapt it to your playstyle. It's all about your skill. Some struggle to climb the smallest rocks, while others are going to swing through forests, outspeeding even the fastest walkers. And that sounds amazing. I love that it's a skill-based and it's seemingly a physics-based system. So what we can do with that and how that is going to interact with combat. So even the simple weapons that I was complaining about earlier, like, an axe, a sword, actually having that sort of mobility in the game and that choice, that decision making is what makes combat fun. Yeah, that's going to be for shooters, especially. Let me just say this: what makes a shooter a competitive shooter isn't how you shoot. It's not the guns you shoot. It's how you dodge. It's how you prepare for the firefight. It's the movement, actually. Not how you aim, it's how you dodge. It's going to be the same thing for sword-based games. If you ever play a game like Dark Souls, it's the mobility that is your skill. It's not like how you swing a sword. What games actually allow you to swing a sword better? Well, apparently this game actually, because you can aim your sword, it's directional. Chivalry as well, but if you play those games, it's about your positioning, it's about how you duck and weave, it's how you actually begin the swing, where you end up. It's all movement. So it's not how you aim really that makes the combat really engrossing, because for the most part, actually, a lot of people are pretty generally very similarly skilled when it comes to aim, but actual strategy, the tactics, the movement, that entwined with you reacting to your own movement, the enemy's movement, that is the true skill being thrown in there. And I think that's really exciting. So yeah. A lot of sword-based games, a lot of melee-based games have a huge lack of mobility, minus Dark Souls, and even then it's just rolling for the most part. So having the grappling hook just basically multiplies, I think in my opinion, all of this skill for this. So even if it's buggy and laggy, I still think it's still going to be a really engrossing game to watch and to participate into the player versus player. And that's not even talking about actually jumping onto these giant machines, flying, zipping around, like 360, like swinging underneath them and coming up on top like a pirate. Yeah, just a lot of really cool stuff can happen just because they added grappling hooks, and that is something that we do see in Worlds Adrift and a few games that allow you to have mobility like this. But it is so rare. It is too often too rare in MMOs that you don't have vertical combat, that you don't have mobile combat, and this game is going to have both. So from that, if we can get unique weapons, I want to say like hooks, if we can get hooks, maybe some claw weapons, some grappling style weapons. Like I said, African, Native American style weapons are definitely really what I want to see, and a little bit more punky weapons. So we get some machinery, maybe some I guess handheld crossbows, things like that. Something that's kind of potential energy style ballista or like spike that we can use. I know Armored Core actually had a weapon just like that. So if we can get some weirder, more punky, and more tribal style weaponry in this game, aligned with the grappling hook style mechanics, I think we're gonna have something that's very berserk, very intense, and very unique, very fun, and very aggressive, which this game just is oozing, being a nomadic hardcore steampunk or wood punk style MMO. So That's going to be all the information that I know of right now. Everything that we just talked about right there, other than the obvious speculation, is going to be in the game at early access. You can see the gameplay. It's obviously a spectacle, but how it's actually going to play, here we go. To end cap the video, which I know I ranted on so much about, but you know, that's what we do here, okay? I do need to kind of give some criticisms here. That is because of Kings and Men was a failure, absolutely, and I criticized its development from the fact that it was supposed to be an MMO, and then I guess they couldn't quite do it, and then they tried to develop it as like a chivalry kind of game, and they were going to expand it into the MMO, and it just, all in all, it just completely crumbled apart. But it had a lot of amazing ideas, and a lot of people were really excited and hyped about it, but so does Last Oasis have that as well. So what's the worst case scenario for Last Oasis? Well, it could be another failure, though since this is their second attempt, and obviously a much more heartfelt attempt, based on just everything, the audio, the music choice, the styling, the aesthetic, just from the production value that I've seen with the trailer, I think that this is an honest, heartfelt, heavy attempt. So I don't think it's going to fail. I don't think it's going to crash and shut down. But the worst case scenario is that it won't be a full MMO. It will maybe be 20 people per server. So, you know, at best we'll have 10 versus 10s, one walker versus one walker, or little squad team battles. I'm hoping we can get at least to 40. So we're at that, you know, like Ark sort of, most like maybe Rust servers or Minecraft servers, that sort of style. I think is totally fine. You know, those games are popular, those games are good, and those games can feel massive, especially if you're jumping from instance to instance. And generally in these type of games, like in Albion or Black Desert, it's not very often you see hordes of enemies zerging together unless it is a literal zerg, and then is that even fun? So Last Oasis, I think at the worst case scenario is going to be fine enough. It's probably going to generally work. And even if it doesn't work, day one early access like we saw with Atlas, that doesn't mean it's a failure. These games can have such huge popularity, and you can have fun, actually, even in their buggy states. You know, as long as they function, you know, Atlas. So, as long as this game can just function a little bit better than Atlas, please and thank you, then I think from there the momentum can gain, or just, you know, it can plateau. It doesn't matter. I think this game can find an audience because holy crap, are we hungry for something that looks just like this? And I know it because this video should probably get some views. This video is going to get a lot of comments. This video is one that I've taken a longer time with and a little bit more honest. But yes, the developer does have people who worked on Of Kings and Men. That's a little bit scary, but you know, let me know your thoughts and the feelings in the comments below. But I'll let you know mine. I think it's a little scary, it's a little shaky, but from what I've seen right now, I'm still hyped. I'm still really excited, and obviously that's because I want it so bad. So there's bias, you know. Yeah, but as a critic, I have to say, yeah, we gotta stay skeptical. We gotta stay skeptical. But if this exists, we really need something like this. And I think as a community, we owe it to ourselves to give it a shot. That's all. I'm not saying to buy it in early access. I'm just saying if somebody does buy it, if somebody streams it, if there's new trailers and stuff, if there's a forum being thrown up, if there's conversation to be had, then let's talk about it. Let's watch it. Let's keep watching it, and let's keep the hype alive. That's all I gotta say, guys. That's all the information that we know so far. I'll be covering this game extensively, as well as a bunch of others, such as Worlds Adrift, New World, things like that. I'm gonna be playing these games and streaming it over at twitch.tv/Skylent, and obviously the video is going up here on YouTube, Skylent Games. Thanks for watching. My name is Skylent, and please, regardless of whatever game you're doing, whatever keyboard warrior shit you're slapping down in the comments below, I'm hoping, you know, we're all nice and friendly, but we're having fun. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.